What's up, Facebook?
Hi, everyone. I am Brandy.
I'm Lavette.
And welcome to the inaugural edition of Sisters United. And we have a lot of things to talk about today. This is going to be great. This is our first time, and we have a topic that was sent in to us that we're going to discuss here in just a minute. But let's go over a few announcements first.
Mardi Gras, St. Mary's, Georgia, March the 2nd. World of Nations, which is going to be in Jacksonville. That's also the weekend of Mardi Gras in St. Mary's, which will be 3/2. And Saturday, February 23rd, Healthy Minds Matter Expo. And where's that at, Brandon?
That's held in St. Mary's at the Light Horse Health Center there on Osborne. So they're going to have all sorts of conversations and speakers and booths set up, all about bringing awareness to mental health, because mental health is a huge issue in this day and age.
Yeah, we talk about so many times how you have the bullying, you have kids going through things, kids not really getting it in school, and some of that does derive from unseen mental health issues. And a variety of situations can occur through mental illness. People take advantage of mental illness and state that it's not an epidemic, there's nothing wrong. But mental illness is not just something that's inherited. When you think about the things we eat, what we put in our bodies, that can also play a part on mental illness as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think if people started looking at mental illness in the same way as they look at diabetes, in the same way as they look at cancer, in the same way as they look at physical ailments, the word is not Alzheimer's, but arthritis. In the same way they look at arthritis. You know what I mean.
I got you.
If they would start looking at mental illness in the same way as they look at physical illness.
Right.
Because I think a lot of the perception right now of, especially when you're looking at behavioral mental illnesses,
right,
is they think people can some way just get over it.
Yeah, mental illness though is not. We look at things as like depression. Depression can fall as a form of illness as well. When you think about mental illness in itself, all of that falls in the same umbrella. People don't understand that depression is an illness.
Right.
And it can stem from mental problems, mental things that are going on, mental situations. And we look at them and we don't realize the severity of it. So yes, I agree. If you put that in situations like the physical ailments, arthritis, definitely. Domestic violence, because to me, it is somebody mental who thinks that it's okay to put their hands on you.
Well, I'll never forget, somebody once told me that, or maybe I read it somewhere, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that.
And it doesn't make it okay, but a lot of these things, they come from a place of pain.
Right.
And if we could get them before that, maybe some of the other would.
Just to reach out and have somebody to talk to, somebody who's not going to judge you, someone that's going to understand what you're going through. I know that I've talked to several people, and this isn't about mental illness, but it's kind of a caveat to the conversation. How can you tell me how to raise a child if you've never raised a child? You know what I mean? How can you tell me I'm raising my child incorrectly? I don't have any. I did raise a child though. How can you tell me I'm raising my child incorrectly if you don't have a child of your own? We have the perception of how to raise the child, but if you've never raised a child or you've never been through what it's like to raise a child, you can't do it. Right. It's a first time for everything.
But you can, though, learn how to identify and walk with somebody.
Right.
You know, and that's one thing we learn in like Stephen Minister training, things like that, is the job is not to fix it or to tell you how to fix it. The job is to say, I get it, and I'm going to walk with you.
Right.
And I think that's, especially when it comes to mental health, that's what people need, is they need people as a whole to start saying, I don't understand, but I get it, and I'm going to walk with you.
Right. I can understand that. I totally get that. Because you don't have, if you don't have somebody that's going to stand beside you to walk with you, even if it's just somebody that's going to sit and listen to you. So in most cases, a person that is going through something, that's what they want. Not necessarily advice, not necessarily feedback, just listen. I hear a lot of, I've been watching some reality TV, and
No.
I've seen people say that, you know, it's a matter of listening. If you can listen to me, then you'll understand you could possibly comprehend or understand what I'm going through. If you just listen instead of react.
And recognize the difference between just hearing something,
Right.
and really hearing something.
Right.
Which kind of, you know, I think there's two sides to that one, and it sort of leads into what our discussion is today, is if I have something I want you to understand, right? Is it your responsibility to listen properly, or is it my responsibility to speak it to you in a way that you'll hear it?
That's an interesting question. I think it would be a combination of both. Communication is about listening. However, when you communicate with someone, because their mind is not the same as yours, you have to kind of take into consideration who you're talking to. You have to, my boss used to tell me, you know your audience. Know who you're talking to. Whereas I wouldn't dare go into a room with a bunch of executives and swear like a sailor. Well, I don't know, I might. No, but I will go into a room with executives to prove I'm the right person that they hire, if that makes sense. I would not go to church drinking a beer, even though God says, come as you are. However, I would go in church, and I would be respectful, you know.
Now, so here's what happened. We got a question in, and it's sort of leading into what we're going to talk about today, that in the workplace and in the business place and in these environments, you know, there's definitely a stigma,
right,
for based on appearances. And it's really anywhere you go. If you look different, you're at a disadvantage.
Right. That's a fact.
If you look different, you're inherently at a disadvantage. And statistics have proved that. You know, they proved that African-American women with straight hair get more jobs and more promotions than African-American with natural hair. They've proven that people with no tattoos get more jobs and more promotions than people with tattoos. I mean, the numbers are there and they don't lie. The question is, at what point does it become, this is my company?
Right.
So what do you think?
I've seen it firsthand. I've worked in corporate America to where I have seen someone that had a full body tattoo as a guy, and he still got the promotion. The only thing that was required was his piercings are taken out, and he had to wear his hair neatly. However, the woman that had equal to half the tattoos, she was turned down the position, and it wasn't because she was not qualified. She was qualified. She dressed very well. However, the guy with the face tattoos, he got the job, and she didn't. He'd been there less time with less experience. I've also seen the perky woman. Trying to keep it politically correct. The perky chick that comes in and she gets the job over the fluffy lady because it's
a woman of size.
Yes, because she is she's not qualified. She is qualified as far as the job description and job history, but because she's not the look of the company. Mm-hmm. Whereas when I go to work, not now, but back then when I had to punch clock, hey Frankie, when I had to punch clock, when I had to be there at a certain time, so to speak, or I was on a schedule from 9 to 5, yes, you know, I did what I needed to do as far as the employee portion goes. But because I was told, even though I knew this wasn't the reason, oh, you're just too passionate and your passion shows in your work. Well, if my passion shows in my work and I've showed you that I'm qualified.
Wherein is the rub?
Right. Where's the problem? And it also comes from that knowing how to sugarcoat. When you think about certain things, you have to be able to politically correctly say certain things.
Well, part of it is you know going in, hi Ms. Faye, how are you? You know going in who you're going to be talking to.
Right.
For example, I used to manage a computer lab. Okay. Years ago when I was in college, I managed a computer lab and I did hiring. I had like 25 students under me. And so every semester I would have to hire. And one of the questions I would ask on my hiring thing was, what is your biggest pet peeve? Okay?
That's a good question.
I thought so. Now, that's why I asked it. Going into an interview, mm-hmm. If somebody asks you, now these are all college students, so they're mostly young, what's your biggest pet peeve was? Right? What would you tell them?
I got too damn many of them. But if I thought about it, my biggest pet peeve is someone who is not upfront with me.
Okay. But that's still somewhat related to working, right?
Right.
So I got things from, one of my favorites was small yippy dogs. And I just want to go, honey.
You're talking about work-related stuff. I got you.
Well, and I can't tell you the number of people I have come in to, and I understand this is a college level job, but when my daughter goes to identify, if she's going to go to apply at McDonald's, mm-hmm. She's going to dress like she wants a job.
Right. Hey, Janet.
I've had people coming in pajamas. I've had people come
to an interview?
To an interview. Clothes that are all ripped up. I've had people like, so on one hand, yes, there are cultural norms. There's natural hair, there's tattoos, there's artistic expression. Right. But on the other hand, if you want a job, Janet says, ignorance from people in positions with power. Yes, that's
yeah, that's it. That's definitely it.
It's a fact of if you're coming to apply for a job, you should already know something about the company.
Right.
You should know if they come in jeans or if they come in slacks.
Right.
And you can't this is my opinion. You can't say you've been discriminated against if you haven't tried.
Right.
Now, if you went there and you were prepared and you were well-spoken and you were in a suit and someone got a job over you that was the same or less qualified because they were, straight-haired, skinny, and then that's the case.
Right.
But at some point, there has to be the onus. I think as a culture, we're too quick to be offended.
Well, it's funny that you say that because everybody seems to be really sensitive nowadays to conversations. There are things that they say you can't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that, I know that we're talking about a lot, but all of this still plays into our main discussion because everybody has become so sensitive.
Right.
Oh, the biggest thing that I've seen this week was the Mary Poppins incident on Facebook. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
So,
I don't even know what that is.
Have you ever seen Mary Poppins?
Yes. In fact, I'm reading the book right now.
Okay, the movie is awesome. However,
is it the second one?
The first one.
The first one. Yeah, it is awesome.
So, you remember the part where I think it's the little housekeeper, or was that Mary Poppins herself?
Mary Poppins.
Yeah, she comes through the chimney.
Yes, after she dances with Bert on the chim. Don't make me break in a song.
Chimney, chim. Yeah. Okay. So she comes to the chimney, and when she comes to the chimney, she's got soot on her face.
Right.
So someone just out of the blue that has nothing to do but watch Facebook 24/7 says that's blackface.
She just came down a chimney.
Well, my face would be black too. So what would I be? Super blackface? I mean, like for real. I mean, I don't understand it. At some point and sometime, you have to differentiate ignorance
and do you
from
know
reality.
What that's stemming from? That situation with that, what was it, like a governor or something? That had the college pictures of himself?
Oh, one was the KKK and one was blackface. They asked him which one he was and he wouldn't say.
Yeah, I wouldn't say either if I was him.
Right. Well, both were bad.
You could have said there would have helped it.
Both were bad.
But I think that's a very real situation of not okay. But what happened is that kicked off a whole bunch of, well, this isn't okay either, and this isn't okay either, and this
right.
And it's at some point you have to just stop. You have to just stop being offended by things. And if we stop talking about them, if we stop having open dialogue about these things, then it's gonna get worse.
Yeah. It's almost like putting a Band-Aid on a situation, and when you eventually run out of gauze or run out of Band-Aids, the sore itself is just gonna bleed out. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you, instead of hiding what's behind something, talk about it. Put it out there in the air and have an open dialogue and an open discussion. People forget, I believe people forget about our amendments and our constitutional rights as citizens, that we can say what we want. You may not like everything that I say, and then you may choose to deal with how I say it or deal with me however you see fit. But in the same instance, I have that right to say what's on my mind. Now, how I project it to you and how I put it out to you may be a little altered, meaning I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I'm not going to come off to you and be rude and ignorant about it.
And maybe it goes back to the idea of communication is a two-way street. We're talking about perceptions in an interview, perceptions in a job, and perceptions over what you say. And I think it's stemming from the idea that communication is up to one person.
Oh, God, yes.
On one hand, what I say, it's my responsibility to to think about who I'm speaking to when I speak words.
Right.
And it's the other person's responsibility to think about who's speaking when they speak the words.
Right.
But saying that it's all their responsibility to be good. A lot of people did a lot of bad stuff when they were teenagers in college.
Oh, God, do I know it.
I bet that poor man the day doesn't go by that he's like, I should not have done that. I should not have done that.
Right.
Does that mean he's a bad guy now? Can people not change?
Oh God. Oh, please don't make me go in. Don't make me go into that topic.
Well, okay, so
don't make me go into that topic.
You know, Faye said we should stop seeing color. We are all people who should be showing love.
Okay.
Now,
that's a fact, Miss Faye. Right on, sister.
You have to. Everybody comes, and this is one of the biggest things I say. You ask my kids. One of the biggest things I say is everybody comes from somewhere. And not everybody comes from somewhere pleasant.
Facts. That's fact.
So, how long should you have to pay for that?
Woo!
Let's say you went out as an 18-year-old and covered your whole body with tattoos.
Right.
I'm not talking about my daughter Samantha. Her tattoos are lovely. I'm saying. Let's say something like tattoo the whole face, or I met this. Right. I met this man. I was doing. I had a booth at last year's Mad Hatter thing in Jacksonville.
Okay.
And there was this homeless man that decided he was going to eat lunch on the bench next to me.
Okay.
Right. And I don't say he's homeless because he looked homeless. He did. I'm saying he's homeless because he was homeless. He told me all about it. Now, this man was covered in hate tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Hate tattoos. And he sat there and he's eating his soup out of the can, bench. And, I started speaking to him, and he had been a Satanist for years.
Oh, wow.
Satanist. And one day got hit by a car. And had brain surgery and all this horrible stuff happened. And he said this woman came and visited him every day. He didn't know her at the time. Every day in the hospital. And he said, I was just ugly to her. And she just told me, I'm just going to love you through this.
Oh.
Right. And his heart had a change. And he was such a pleasant man. I mean, very well spoken for who he was. And I asked him, what he wished now. And he said, he wished that he could remove the tattoos because that's all anybody sees.
Aww.
Right? A mistake from the past. Just, that's all. Is he the Satanist he was then? No, he was a lovely man.
It's funny you say that. I'm not going to go into it deeply on our first live. Haha, so that means you'll have to come back.
Let's save some for the second.
Right. But I've made several mistakes throughout my life. I never portrayed that I was a perfect person. You and I had this discussion a little bit earlier. It has taken a lot for me to mature. And they say women mature faster than men. And it says that over time, and the reason why I'm kind of taking my time with this is because I don't want to spill the tea too early. We make choices because we're allowed to make choices. Good, bad, or indifferent for your decisions to those choices, that's on you. And it's really how you bounce back. If it was a bad decision, it's how you bounce back from that bad decision.
Right.
And I'm a firm believer that people can change. Because, honey, let me tell you, maybe on the next live. But let's just say,
stay tuned next week.
Right.
Same bat time.
Same bat time. I am a firm believer that people change. I'm a firm believer that if you've committed a crime, you can get out and you can change. I'm a believer that if you were in a work situation to where everybody hated you,
you can change that.
You can change that. I used to hear all the time, perception is reality. I didn't understand what that meant. But I had a boss, her name was Lisa Sherbar. Hey, Lisa, if you watch this. She was, besides her and Peggy Barber, Lisa was amazing. She used to tell me, she says, well, listen, this is a game. Now, I've heard this saying more than one time. Janet told me this one time. Well, she tells me this all the time. It's a game. Once you learn how to play the game, though, that is where you really become dangerous.
Well, and that's where the personal responsibility when you go into these situations comes. Because, yes, you came from the past and you recovered and you got it and everything's good.
Right.
Now, you're going in to get this job. You know that you don't look like them, right?
Right.
You know that you don't come from that past, right?
Right.
You know that the circle of people that these people have been exposed to is nothing like you, right? Now, you're walking in the door, and I told my daughter, I said, you have to start change from the inside. Get in the door and then affect change.
Right.
Going into that interview, you know these things. So speak like you have something to say.
Right.
Carry yourself with pride. Like, yes, I've been there, I've been through it, and I am good in the spot where I am. And I have skills that you need.
It's almost like being comfortable in your own skin.
You have to, and it's hard.
It is. It is, because the stereotypes when it comes to the workplace. We talked about the glass ceiling effect. It's so many women out here that are talented and can get the job done. Now I was looking at some jobs, and some of these jobs now are posting no glass ceiling.
There's always a glass ceiling.
Right. There, it says no glass ceiling. We hire within, and advancement opportunities are quick. Well, I don't want an advancement opportunity too quick.
Yeah, you want to earn it.
I want to earn it, and I want to earn it the right way.
And the key is, I think it's naive to think there are no glass ceilings, but people make it through. It's how much is it worth to you?
Right.
I'm in this play, and it's at the little theater. If you haven't got your tickets, I'm telling you lost out. It's sold out, and it's going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal. So, playing Daisy Bates, and part of the Little Rock Nine. And for those not familiar, the Little Rock Nine are the 9 students that integrated Central High School in Little Rock.
Okay.
Right. So, it was hard. They walked into a space where everybody, they couldn't blend in.
Right.
Right? Couldn't blend in. And every day was a war zone.
Hey, Josh.
Every day. And these are children.
Right.
And I remember watching an interview, and one of them said that her army guy that went in to be her bodyguard told her to act like you're going to war. Right? Act like you're going to war every day. Because they could not retaliate. The one girl who did, and it's so crazy. So all through this time, they're getting like acid thrown on them, and they're getting pushed down the stairs, and they're getting people spitting in their face and yelling at them and peeing on their lockers. I mean, all these horrific things. So this one girl, Minnie Jean, finally had enough. And at lunch one day, she dumps her chili on the head of another student.
Bullying. Enough was enough. She was tired.
She got expelled. Now, if you look at these 9 people now, they went on to become PhDs and professors and high-ranking people in the military and government officials. Why? Because they knew that the barriers were there, but they took ownership over their journey.
Yeah.
Is it fair? No, it's not fair in this country. However, you can make it.
You have to be responsible for yourself. Like you said, you have to start the change from within. But it's bad when they want you to monitor how you make the change. If someone sees you making, as they would say, ruffling feathers, they see you ruffling feathers with the potential of possibly swaying people to your side, then all of a sudden it's a problem. Or someone else comes along and tries to steal your idea. I know, as being a woman of color, it's extra hard because I take these braids out, honey, and I can wash dishes with my hair. No joke. And I knew, being a woman of color with a very strong personality, was my downfall in corporate America. I made it in one company. I made it to a point to where I was over at least 150 people. However, the next place I went to, it was almost like, okay, we're gonna show this little strong personality woman that she's not gonna be in charge here. And it's sad because the job was predominantly women.
Well, women aren't exempt from being petty.
No, absolutely not. But you would think, as a woman that has been through some of the stuff, because I watched a lot of them go through interviews that were qualified and didn't get the job. You would think you would support and be supportive. You know what I mean? You know that the glass ceiling is there. So why not take those 5-inch heels, those pencils you're walking on every day, and gradually make cracks in this floor, which is the ceiling?
That's a good analogy.
Right. Why not gradually make cracks in this floor and understand that if that floor falls from beneath you because of how you've been with other women,
someone else is going to hold you up.
We got your back.
And that's something, as women, that's so important. And it took me a long time to understand that, because this may sound strange, but growing up, I wasn't super popular.
Really?
All right, you don't have to roll your eyes quite that much. But growing up and as a teen, I always felt that I didn't want female friends. I had one or two, but I was like, I understand guy friends. I understand guys. I'm just going to hang out with the guys. I get them. They get me. It's all good.
Girl, you act like you my sister from another mister.
Well, but the key is, for women, female friends are important.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like for, I'm not saying this to be a gender thing, just like for men, male friends are important.
Yes.
As much as we say that everybody should be the same and one love for all, there's a comfort in being able to talk to somebody like you.
Right.
Right? And women have this bond. You need strong women around you, not just to lean on, but to show you that iron sharpens iron.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The era of the strong woman is so new.
Yeah.
It's so new, and I've talked to, and I have several female friends that are much older than I am. And I love them and I gravitate towards them because I am living their victory.
Girl, listen, the other day I went to the ombudsman and I talked with the high schoolers there. The women, the young women, made me so proud. And when I hear them talk, and I hear all of them have a job now, and they get out of school at 11, they go to work, they have a full day, they do their homework, they come back to school, and the cycle continues. But just to see, the whole class is amazing, but just to see the women, the young girls, to have such a positive view on life and where they want to be. As they were telling me, one wants to be a nurse, another wanted to be a teacher. Another wanted to be an artist, I believe. One wanted to go into the Navy. To know that they've already planned out their future, but they also understood that it was not going to be easy. That let me know that kids nowadays are definitely way more advanced than the kids
Oh
were
yeah,
when I was a kid.
Lord. If I can say it, kids grow up so fast, like so fast compared to what I remember. I remember being as a child for much longer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure my daughter ever was a child. I think she like came out of me a full-grown little woman, because the idea of and you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's awesome that they have this sense of self so young,
Right.
but then on the other hand, when were they a child? You know, and so the knowledge that they have it within themselves, you have to find the strength in you.
Right.
Because nobody's going to give it to you these days.
That's a fact.
And that's one of the things, you know, when I go and talk to people that I really try to promote is the fact that life isn't going to be fair. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't owe you anything. If you want it, you have a responsibility to get it.
That's it.
And, you know, when we're talking about, and I'm going to make this point, and then I'm going to stop making points so we can not make this super long. If you want to get to the next level and past the glass ceiling, you know, it's not fair that it's there. It's not fair that if you choose to express your cultural or your artistic identity, that you're at a disadvantage.
Right.
But you can only make a change from the inside. What you have to do is say, all right, this piece is stacked against me, so I need to make my pieces this high so that I can get over the same wall. And once I'm over there, then I'm going to show them what a big-boned, natural hair woman of color can really accomplish. But I can't show it to them from the outside.
And that's a good point, because we don't seem to understand as women that we have to work together, and we have to have a plan. If you know that you want to be the CEO of your own company or any company that you go and work for, you have to have a plan to get there.
And you have to learn about it. What are you doing every day to get there?
That's it. And every time you do something to check it, every time you do something on your list to get where you're trying to go, check it off.
Mm-hmm.
Have a plan. And once you have that plan, you put that plan into action. I myself try to write down every day what I got to do. I have a schedule though. I do. Mondays I do this. Saturdays I do this. Tuesday through Friday is straight work. So one thing that I know I want women to take away from our conversation is, regardless of whether you wear combat boots, tennis shoes, flip-flops, 5-inch pencils on your feet, if you keep making steps, positive steps, you will eventually begin to put cracks in the ceiling.
Yes.
Once you begin to put cracks in the ceiling and you get more women to walk with you, that crack then becomes a hole. Once that ceiling breaks, as long as you have good attitude, you can work well with others, because you don't always have to like who you work with.
But you do have to work with them.
But you have to work with them. But if women started working together, you could shatter the ceiling. Have a plan. Put the plan in order. Know where you want to be. Even though Brandy's plan may not be the same plan as mine. However, I know Brandy because she's persistent. She's trying to get to a higher level. I know me because I'm persistent. I'm trying to get to that same level. We can get together and create one unified plan. But in order for that unified plan to fall into volition, you got to have your own individual plan to make it work.
Right. Iron sharpens iron, but you both have to want to be sharpened.
That's it.
Both have to want.
Today's topic came from someone who messaged us, and they wanted our opinion and our discussion on the glass ceiling. So there you have it. In a nutshell, what we're saying is tear the damn thing down. Start from inside and work with other women to get it torn down.
Mm-hmm.
Stay positive, stay focused, stay headfast.
Stay together.
And stay together. Unity can make everything happen. I mean, you look at the protests out here. If you have something that you're passionate about, and if this glass ceiling is something that you're passionate about, unify yourself with other people that are passionate as well.
And they're out there. You know, the information age, one benefit about the information age is you can always find someone who's passionate about what you are too. There's always somebody out there.
Well, with that being said, if you have any topics, questions, cares, concerns, please feel free to message Sisters United. Brandy, myself, or Carlika will get back with you. Unfortunately, Carlika was not here with us tonight. She's not feeling well. However, the show must go on. We wish Carlika well and hope that she feels better.
And if you like this, share it with your friends.
Yes, share. We don't do this specifically for likes, views. We do it because we genuinely care. We care as women, and we just care about people in general. It's unity that we're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm. That's what Sisters United is all about.
We're all about women sticking together and working together for the same common goal.
All right, so until next time, next Friday at 6:30. We will see you again, and till then, see you later.
If you like it, share it, please.